got to let me know. Should I stay or should I go?
Hey, lost in thought. What are you thinking about?
As always, Anne Jones, I'm thinking about trends. Trends in our noble profession of real estate.
Ahead of the curve.
Ahead of the curve.
And what has captured your attention?
You know, I've been thinking like more and more of my friends and clients are renting out their houses instead of selling them.
Sometimes by choice and sometimes not
By
so much.
necessity.
Yeah.
I actually even saw an article about this recently, about how this is part of the reason we have a little bit of an inventory shortage right now across the country, is because people have the first mortgage, the mortgage on their first house is 4% or 3.5%, locked in for 30 years, and it's time to sell, and they go, we're not going to make a lot of money when we sell this house anyway, so let's rent it out and buy our next house.
And at least locally, the rental market's pretty strong.
So strong. And I know, we're in Tacoma. I know in Seattle, it's even stronger.
Yep.
In some of the big markets, it's out of control. So much that they're talking policy and all of that kind of stuff. So if you have low interest rates with low payments and nice high rents, people are sort of tempted to enter into the world of landlording.
Which, if you're doing it by choice, maybe educating yourself a little bit beforehand on what's involved there. If it's something you haven't done before. This may be where a property management company needs to be called in.
Yeah, I've done it both ways, and I will say, I think I'm a very smart, intelligent person, but
Clearly.
obviously, but I would much rather have a property manager.
Ring, ring, and... Hello. Sorry about that. The pipes have burst in the middle of the night, whatever the case may be.
Honestly, of course. There's toilet issues, but I think the average person says, whatever, for 10% a month or 15% of the rent per month, I'll go ahead. That's how much a property manager charges. Yeah. I'll go ahead and deal with my own toilets. I'm a handy fella. Here's the real thing that kind of got me going towards property management, because I actually owner-occupied a duplex for my first place. So I lived in one side and rented out the other. And my tenants were awesome, and it was a pretty great experience.
Yeah.
But in Washington State, we have very strong laws and very thorough laws that protect both the landlord and the tenant, that clearly spell out exactly how all this stuff works. And it's incredibly complicated. I have taken no fewer than 4 landlord-tenant law classes, and every time I take one, I feel stupider than the last. This is a true specialty. Yeah. There are so many ways that a landlord can end up with someone in their house for a very long time not paying rent.
Well, and for example, I think one illustration of that is the fact that we as realtors who list and sell properties don't typically handle property management. There's not a lot of crossover. It is its own specialty.
Very mysterious.
So, you're hiring that property management company not just to get the phone calls, which is a nice feature, especially if you live in another state.
Yeah.
You've moved away, you need somebody to be the point of contact. You're also hiring them for placement of tenants, screening. They know those landlord-tenant laws. There's a lot of anti-discrimination laws that need to be taken into consideration.
Well, and it's also the difference between Googling Washington State lease and printing out what you find on the Googles.
Yep.
And someone who's spent, the property manager that I use has been in the business for decades, and he has been honing and refining his lease, for years, to make sure that both the tenant and the landlord are happy and protected, and that everybody has clear expectations of how things are going to go.
And there's a great example. Yesterday I was talking to someone and she was saying, okay, we think we want to sell the house, but we're not sure, and should we rent it out in the meantime because nobody wants to pay double mortgages or, rent and a mortgage. Can't we continue to have it on the market once we put somebody in there? There's specific things about that you need to know, and of course it's very difficult to attract a quality tenant while you're still threatening to sell the house.
Yeah.
But that's for somebody with that expertise to guide you on.
Absolutely.
That would be a reason to hire them. There are ranges, though, right, of property management. So you could hire a company just to place tenants for you. This is something that my parents have done. My dad's a builder and has built and managed many rentals, but a lot of times they have someone else screen and place the tenants, so that liability is off of them. Mm-hmm. And then they go on and service repairs and things that come up, collect the rents. So it's not a one-size-fits-all arrangement.
Absolutely. I think since we've gone into the dark side of that, this can be a little bit pricey to have it managed, 10 to 15% of your rent,
yep.
And that there's liability involved, and you want to, we do strongly advocate for property management. But there's some upsides. And those upsides might be, your first house, the payment on that might be $1,000 a month. And the rents on that, I mean, if you have a 3-bedroom house in Tacoma,
Yeah, you're gonna be able to rent it.
you're gonna be able, if you take dogs, my gosh, you're gonna be able to charge so much rent. So like the
Yeah.
spread on that, even after paying your property manager, you could have a nice chunk of change going towards paying off your mortgage early.
Right.
One day, Ann Jones, we're gonna be old.
No.
It's true. Little tiny wrinkles are already coming in. And you know what that means? Retirement. It means retirement. And how are we gonna fund that retirement? I know my mom's using all the Social Security right now. And what is
There will be none left.
There will be none left. And the thing that I keep thinking is like, how awesome will it be? Like all these friends of ours that have had to rent out their house, maybe because they couldn't sell it. Somebody else is paying down their mortgage, and one day they're gonna have a paid off house with 2060 rental income. Well, we'll probably retire before that. We'll be dead by then. I don't even know how to do math.
Stay positive. Your home could be paid off, and you may even be generating income before you know it. That's a great thing.
The cool thing, a lot of my clients are generating income already.
Yep.
And even if they're breaking income, somebody else is paying down their mortgage so that one day they have a house that's paid off with income.
And the other potential financial benefit being some tax write-offs.
Absolutely.
So, there's a couple of different ways to look at that, and maybe it's a little bit of a short-term hardship, but it's got long-term benefit for you. So it's something to look at and consider if you're trying to decide whether you should jump in the market right now because you're hearing how great it is. Maybe holding is the right option for you.
So you got to let me know. Should I stay or should I go?